So Phoenix just took another L. They have now lost 4 in a row and are 1-7 in their last 8. And we are coming up on a clear crossroads for this team. What are they going to do? I could be wrong, but I'm just assuming that Miami is not going to do a Bradley Beal trade. Maybe they will. I highly doubt it. Now, the obvious crossroads I'm talking about is, do you want to keep Kevin Durant, but not only KD, do you want to keep Devin Booker? Now, the reason this is maybe a little bit tricky for Phoenix is usually if you were going into a rebuild, you would already have some picks to work with. Between now and 2031, the Suns only have 2 picks and only one is completely under their control. The other one is subject to swaps, right? So even if you do bottom out, there's no guarantee they would be able to keep their 2026 pick. And they don't have a pick this year, which also complicates it because, again, if you were to bottom out this year, you'd probably want to get your pick. You can't do that here. But before we get all dramatic, because we will, let's talk about where they actually are right now. They are now 3 games under 500, but they have a very, very big opportunity right in front of them right now. Because if they can't get right with their upcoming schedule, they should absolutely blow it up. Here's their upcoming schedule, and it's kind of crazy. Philadelphia, I guess a tough game. Charlotte, Atlanta, Utah, Charlotte, Atlanta, Washington, Detroit. That's crazy. Now, teams like the Hawks and the Pistons currently have a better record than the Suns, right? So maybe it's not the easiest schedule. But if they can't come out of that 8-game stretch, 6-2, at worst 5-3, if they go 4-4 in those 8 games, it's over. Because again, they're coming from behind in this situation. So if they go 4-4 and the Spurs go 4-4, well, the Spurs are still 2 games up on the Suns, right? If they go 4-4 and the Warriors go 4-4, well, the Warriors are still 3 games up on the Suns. God forbid they go 4-4 and the Spurs and Warriors go something like 6-2, right? They're that type of stretch away from being completely out of it. And not that I wholeheartedly love those other teams, right? But they're not at this obvious crossroads. I mean, the Warriors kind of are, but not in this way. Where you got Kevin Durant, who has 1 more year on his deal after this year. If you're not a contender this year, you're going to keep Kevin Durant for next year and let him walk? Do you not feel like a Kevin Durant trade becomes inevitable if we get to February and you're still a couple games under 500? And I'm singling out Kevin Durant because, one, you're not going to get anything for Bradley Beal. You're probably not getting Jimmy Butler for Bradley Beal. Again, maybe I'm wrong. And Devin Booker is still only, 27 years old? And like I said before, you don't have any of your picks right now to build upon, right? Like if you were bringing in, let's just say you got a total of 5 first-round picks for Book and KD. Okay, well, if you were to add those 5 picks to the 5 you already have, then maybe we're building something, right? And I know it's not that simple. You could have no picks. You could have 1 pick and hit on that 1 pick and be good, right? It's never that simple. But as far as a plan, right? I think it would be better to try to get some slightly younger guys than Kevin Durant on the team while also getting first-round picks. So you could be competent right now, but also replenish for the future, whether that's building around Book or not. But right now, you don't even have your pick to bottom out this year or next year. So that's not really a good plan in my opinion. So I think they should trade Kevin Durant. Now, I'm going to hold, judgment on that until we get to the trade deadline. Maybe they look amazing then, and I could change my mind. But right now, I don't see it with this team. I've never really seen them as contenders. I understand if you did, right? But I've been thinking about Kevin Durant trades, and I came up with one, and you guys are probably going to hate it. But finding a Kevin Durant trade is not easy to do because people just seen what happened with Phoenix, right? Because I feel like most people would say the Suns would be better right now if you trade Kevin Durant for Cam Johnson and Mikal Bridges. Maybe you disagree. I feel like most people would say, yeah, they'd be better. So a lot of teams don't want to make that same mistake. So the team I came up with might be a team that is, I don't want to say desperate. I kind of want to say dumb enough. But the team is the Atlanta Hawks, who were playing really well. As I'm watching this, they are currently down 20 points to Kawhi Leonard in his return game. But you try to think of a team that Kevin Durant would fit with their best player, or not just fit, right? Kevin Durant could fit anywhere, but Trae Young, Kevin Durant sounds like a good fit. Sounds like a James Harden, Kevin Durant in Brooklyn. And I believe Kevin Durant has always been at his best with a true point guard next to him. And even more so at this stage in his career where he's not doing as much off the dribble, having a ball dominant elite passer like Trae Young would be a great fit. So here's the deal I came up with. Tell me I'm stupid, tell me I don't know ball, let me know in the comments down below. But I have the Hawks sending out DeAndre Hunter, Onyeka Okongwu, Larry Nance, and 2 first-round picks for Kevin Durant. Now, if you told me that's too much, I might agree with you. I really might, because Kevin Durant, 36 years old, only signed 1 more year. That might be doing too much if you're Atlanta. But DeAndre Hunter is 27 years old. He's at a all-time high right now. You'd be selling high on DeAndre Hunter. Okongwu, we keep waiting for him to take the starting spot. He hasn't been able to do it because he hasn't been better than Clint Capella. So yeah, that's kind of a L to give up on him. But if you can get Kevin Durant, and then you have to include Larry Nance to make the money work. It's unfortunate. I tried to get like Mason Plumlee back in the deal so they can have at least 1 more big, but you can't do it. So they would have to find another way to get a backup center, but you would have Clint Capella, Kevin Durant, and Jalen Johnson. So getting 1 more, minimum backup 5 might not be all that bad. But if you're the Hawks, I'm not saying you should be jumping for joy at this possibility, but to get Trae Young, Kevin Durant together, while keeping Ricochet, while keeping Jalen Johnson, while keeping Dyson Daniels, you still have Bogdanovich off the bench. You still have a legit starting center in Clint Capella in an Eastern Conference that is very good for sure, but you now make yourself a real player while not giving too much up of the future, because Okongwu's probably not going to be your starting center of the future. Otherwise, he probably would have been starting by now. And DeAndre Hunter is 27 years old, having a career year. If he's this player the rest of his career, you might regret it a little bit, but at the same time, not really, because your hope would be in a couple years that Ricochet and Jalen Johnson are dominating all of those forward minutes and DeAndre Hunter is somewhere else, right? If you're a Hawks fan, that's kind of what you're hoping, right? And regardless, you are probably going to have to reset in a couple years anyway. So now you give yourself a real chance to win right now. Question is, do you want to give up those picks? And could you possibly do it with only giving up 1 pick? I know that sounds absurd for Kevin Durant, and maybe a team like Houston would jump out the window with 3 first-round picks. Maybe a team like Memphis would do it 3-4 first-round picks, but I also don't think Phoenix would be trading him in the West. So keep that in mind as well. But there aren't many teams where I actually like Kevin Durant going. But if you told me Kevin Durant with Atlanta the next 3 years, I actually really like that. I like the core of Kevin Durant, Trae Young, Jalen Johnson, Ricochet. And if it doesn't work in a couple years, well, you can go ahead and trade Trae Young anyway and replenish on your first-round picks. Theoretically, you never really know how that goes. But to me, I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it. If you kept Trae Young for a reason. In this deal, you're not giving up anyone that's a core part of your future. Why not? But if you're the Suns, why you might do it, I kind of already explained it, but Devin Booker is signed. He's not going anywhere. You don't have your picks, and you are currently 3 games behind 500 right now. You got to keep that in mind. It's not like you're trading Kevin Durant coming off a conference finals run. That's not what's happening. I don't even think you'd be a much worse team this year if you made this deal. DeAndre Hunter's going to come in. He's going to chuck threes. You have him signed for a couple years. You have an asset in DeAndre Hunter. You have Okongwu who, maybe give him a real run now. And then you get 2 first-round picks. And now all of a sudden you look around and you have Devin Booker, you have DeAndre Hunter, you have Ryan Dunn, you have first-round picks, you have a lot more flexibility to pivot and build a contender around Devin Booker if that's possible. And I'm not saying this is why you should do it, but if there is no Kevin Durant, all of a sudden Bradley Beal becomes a lot more valuable to you as a team, and I think we'd see a lot more from Bradley Beal if there was no Kevin Durant. Not saying, that's a reason you should do that deal, but it's a reason why letting go of Kevin Durant wouldn't be as harmful as you might think for this team. And I think once you were to make that move, all of a sudden other deals become more, palatable. A Yusuf Nurkic deal where you maybe don't get what you want to get. Maybe you get a couple second-round picks for Nurk. Right now, it seems like, Nurk is too important to us. But if you trade Kevin Durant, the pressure of winning this year is not there. You let Nurk go, you bring in Okongwu. Okongwu gets those minutes. Who knows what he can be? So you let go of Nurk for a couple second-round picks, right? I don't even know who would want Nurk in this scenario, but you get what I'm saying. Maybe the Warriors would want Nurk, and they'd give up a couple seconds. Maybe you could finesse a first-round pick out of someone for Royce O'Neal, right? Just things like that you wouldn't possibly do right now with Kevin Durant on the roster, because right now they're operating in this championship or bust mode when they are currently 3 games under 500. And I just think as we get toward the trade deadline, if they are not going on a run right now, which is why I broke down their upcoming schedule. Again, their next 8 is ridiculously easy. Philadelphia, off the top of my head, I think they had Charlotte twice, they had Washington twice, they had the Pistons, right? A bunch of easy games coming up. If they can't go on a run during this stretch, I think the Kevin Durant trade is inevitable, and I don't know how many teams would really want Kevin Durant that he would not, mind going to. And to me, the Hawks are one of the few like really, really solid fits where he would fit with Trae Young. You don't have to give up any of your young, building blocks, hypothetically, in Ariza Shea or Jalen Johnson or even Dyson Daniels. To me, that deal makes a lot of sense, right? Let me know in the comments. You guys are going to hate it. I already know you're going to hate it. But if not the Hawks, where would you want to see Kevin Durant go? And don't tell me some, don't give me no pie in the sky. Maybe, Detroit, actually. Similar situation to the Hawks. But there's no DeAndre Hunter with the Pistons. Unless you're in love with Jalen Durant, who would be the Congo in this case, there's no Hunter to put with him. And I don't think Tobias Harris would be that appealing because he's not even a better player than DeAndre Hunter right now, and he's also older. So I will be watching Phoenix very closely these next couple weeks because, again, if they struggle in this stretch, that trade is inevitable. Not the Hawks one, but a trade is inevitable. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. Let me know what you think of the trade, where you want to see him go, all that. Please like, comment, subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm out. Peace.